The year is 753 BC. I want you to picture two young men standing on separate hills in Italy. The two men, Romulus and Remus, twin brothers born of divine and royal blood, abandoned at birth, raised by a she-wolf, and destined, so the legend says, to found a city that would one day rule the world. But even destiny has its price. After years in exile, the brothers returned to the land of their birth. They agreed to build a new city, but couldn't agree on where. Romulus favoured the Palatine Hill, Remus the Aventine. Unable to resolve it themselves, they turned to augury, an ancient Roman practice of interpreting the will of the gods through the flight of birds. Remus reportedly saw 6 vultures, Romulus 12, and each claimed divine favour. And like most conflicts between brothers, it escalated very quickly. Romulus began to dig a trench and mark out a sacred boundary on the Palatine, laying the symbolic first stones of his city. Remus, perhaps mocking him, or perhaps testing the sanctity of the wall, leapt over it, and Romulus struck him down. So perish all who dare to cross these walls, he is said to have declared. In that single moment, Romulus murdered his brother and founded Rome. Now let's be clear, this legend is not strictly history. There's no archaeological record of any she-wolf or any eyewitness account of any divine vultures. But the myth here matters, not for its literal truth, but for what it reveals about Roman identity. Romans embraced this brutal origin story. They didn't hide from it or sugarcoat it. They believed it embodied something essential, that the city and its laws were sacred, that its survival might require sacrifice, even the blood of one's own kin. Romulus went on to name the city after himself, Roma, and became its first king. He established early Roman institutions like the Senate, the military, and key religious rites. And from that first act of violence, Rome began its ascent. Interestingly, archaeology does place settlements on the Palatine Hill around this time. So while the myth is clearly embellished, its geographical core might hold some truth. What we see in this tale, though, is more than a story of just two brothers. What we see here is a declaration of priorities. The state above the individual, the city above sentiment, law and order born through sacrifice. And this is the thread that pretty much runs throughout Roman history. It's harsh, stoic, and very unapologetic. In founding the city of Rome, Romulus didn't just cross the line, he drew it in blood. This was a city not born from peace, but from power. Not from consensus, but conflict. And in many ways, that same spirit would define Rome for many centuries to come.